The air grew thick with the scent of wood smoke and the murmur of dread, as Eloane prepared her potent brews. Yet even as she battled for the child's life, Father Godwin's whispers slithered through the village, weaving tales of her unholy arts and tainting the well of public opinion. The blacksmith's hammer rang out, each blow a muffled drumbeat against the encroaching gloom, echoing the turmoil in Thorn's heart, as he struggled to reconcile his love for Eloane with the mounting accusations. Meanwhile, Eloane stood at the precipice of her destiny, her toolkit laid out like a gambler's final hand. With each passing moment, the weight of the village's hopes and Godwin's accusations pressed down on her, threatening to crush the fragile balance of her soul. As the potion took shape, tendrils of green smoke snaked upwards, carrying with them the essence of Eloane's determination and despair. The fate of the child, the village, and Eloane herself hung in the balance, tethered to the cauldron's fumes like a witch's Sabbath in the mist-laden valleys of medieval England. In the flickering candlelight of her humble abode, Eloane stirred the bubbling brew, her reflection wavering in the cauldron's surface like a spectre. Her eyes, pools of fathomless green, mirrored the potion's swirling depths, betraying the turmoil within. Every rustle of leaves outside was a whispered threat, every creak of the cottage a footstep of fear. For as Eloane battled to save the child, she also waged a war against the insidious tendrils of suspicion that Father Godwin had woven into the fabric of the village. Yet amidst the brewing darkness, a glimmer of hope persisted. In the heart of the village, the blacksmith's hammer rang out, a defiant melody against the gathering gloom. Each stroke was a prayer, a silent plea for Eloane's innocence, a testament to the love that burned in his heart for her. Even as the shadows lengthened and Godwin's accusations grew, Thorn's devotion remained a steadfast beacon, a promise of solace in the gathering storm. As the potion reached its crescendo, the cottage filled with the pungent aroma of healing herbs and forbidden lore, a heady blend that masked the growing dread. Outside, the wind howled like a banshee, whipping the trees into a frenzy, as if the very forest itself was in turmoil. And then, as suddenly as it began, the storm abated, leaving behind an eerie silence that was more unnerving than the tempest. It was a hush pregnant with anticipation, a holding of breath before the final act of this perilous drama. In the quiet aftermath of the storm, Eloane emerged from her cottage, her face pale as parchment, her eyes holding the haunted green depths of the forest. The potion, a shimmering emerald vial, was clutched tightly in her hand, a tangible representation of the hope that now flickered precariously in her heart. The fate of the child, the village, and her own destiny hung in the balance, suspended in the stillness like a fragile bubble. As Eloane moved through the village, the air itself seemed to thicken, each step echoing the weight of accusation and fear. The whispers that had been swirling like a miasma round her cottage now followed her into the open, weaving a shroud of dread round her figure. Despite the oppressive silence, the wind carried snippets of conversation, fragments of doubt and suspicion that pricked at her like shards of glass. But amidst the chilling murmur, there was a counterpoint, a single, steadfast note of devotion, the blacksmith's hammering. It was a rhythmic pulse of defiance, a testament to the enduring strength of love and loyalty in the face of encroaching darkness. And as Eloane approached the village square, where Father Godwin stood bathed in the ethereal glow of early dawn, the full weight of the coming confrontation settled upon her like a shroud. Her toolkit, a silent witness to centuries of tradition and taboo, rested at her side, a tangible link to the ancient past. With each step closer to the square, the tension mounted, threatening to shatter the fragile equilibrium of the village and the very core of Eloane's being. In the heart of the village square, bathed in the cold light of dawn, Eloane stood before Father Godwin, her weathered face a mask of quiet defiance. At her feet lay her toolkit, a silent testament to generations of tradition and taboo. The air crackled with unspoken tension as she met Godwin's accusing gaze, her eyes blazing with the fires of 1,000 lifetimes. As the sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the square, the drama reached its crescendo. The villagers, a chorus of hushed voices and darting eyes, became an audience to the battle of wills unfolding before them. Iloan's hands trembled slightly, betraying the turmoil within. The fate of the child, the village, and her own destiny hung in the balance. Poised on the razor's edge of the confrontation, the outcome would reverberate through the ages, shaping the very destiny of those gathered in the square that fateful morning. Yet amidst the mounting drama, the blacksmith's presence remained a steadfast, constant. His hammer, silent but for the rhythmic ring of metal on stone, spoke volumes of his unwavering devotion to Eloan. Each stroke was a testament to the enduring strength of love and loyalty in the face of encroaching darkness. And so the story unfolded, a tapestry of love, loss, faith, and fear, set against the backdrop of a world teetering between the old ways and the rising tide of Christianity. The stage was set, the players assembled, and as the sun climbed higher in the sky, the drama in the English village reached its inevitable climax. As the first hint of dawn touched the sky, Eloan woke up and gasped. Her fever had broken in the night. Her skin, which had been as hot and flushed as a furnace, was now clearing like mist, dispersing under the noonday sun. She sat up, her head swimming, and noticed Thorn asleep beside her. His shoulder pressed against her back, his chest rising and falling with each breath. A soft smile touched Eloan's lips. Beside her, Thorn stirred, his dark eyes fluttering open. "You're awake," he whispered, relief flooding his face. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Eloan replied, her voice hoarse but stronger than before. "The fever's gone." But even as she spoke, a shadow seemed to fall over the clearing. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, sensing a change in the air. Just then, a commotion broke the morning quiet. Villagers, their faces etched with worry, hurried into the clearing, their eyes searching. "Father Godwin," someone called out, and a tall, gaunt man with a shock of white hair pushed through the crowd. It was Father Godwin, his expression grave. "Iloan," he said, his voice grave, "we need to talk." Iloan exchanged a worried look with Thorn. She could feel a chill crawl up her spine. The priest's presence brought back memories of the fever, of her own power surging within her, twisting her into something she didn't understand. Father Godwin's gaze was intense, his eyes boring into hers. "Your sickness," he began, "it's gone. You were healed in the night." Suspicion edged his words. Iloan's heart skipped a beat. She glanced at Thorn, seeking support, but he only shook his head slightly, his jaw clenched tight. Iloan stammered, but Father Godwin cut her off. "There are things you don't understand, child. Powers you wield without knowing. Magic that runs in your veins. You are a conduit of forces beyond our ken. We should leave here, go someplace far from this village." His words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Eloan could sense the unease spreading through the villagers. Whispers rose like a tide, carrying accusations and fears. "Unnatural," someone hissed. "Witchcraft," another murmured, their eyes gleaming with fanaticism. Eloan felt a surge of anger, but it was quickly replaced by a cold dread. She looked at Thorn, his face grim, his gaze fixed on Father Godwin. Then she turned back to the priest. "What do you want me to do?" she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "Come with me," Father Godwin replied, holding out a hand. "I will teach you, guide you, help you control what you are." For a moment, Eloan hesitated, torn between the safety she had known in the village and the unsettling call of the unknown. In the end, the desire for understanding, for control, drew her to Father Godwin's outstretched hand. "Welcome to the village of Eldridge, where centuries have entombed a toolkit in Earth's embrace." The village of Eldridge crumbling to ruins as forests reclaimed the land. But above ground, time stood still in the spires of Notre Dame, a distant Paris, a symbol of enduring faith while secrets slumber below. It is here that in the year 2023, archaeologists unearthed a box, its wood preserved by mud seal, buried beneath the hearth of a long-dead cottage. Its contents undisturbed for more than a millennium. They discovered a rusted dagger, its blade still sharp, crystals dulled, but shimmering, vials cracked, but holding dried residues of potent elixirs. A 1,000-year-old witch's toolkit, a whisper of Iloan's life, echoing through the artifacts. The lead archaeologist, Dr. Amelia Hart, a woman with eyes shadowed by loss, felt a chill as she opened the box. Her heart a hollow echo of Iloan's conflict. Her belief in rational history clashed with the stirring of ancestral memories, and the discovery threatened to unravel the fragile piece she'd built her life upon. At the dawn of the 11th century, amidst the shadows of looming cathedrals and the whispers of ancient lore, there lived a woman named Iloan. Her name, a melody of otherness, resonated through the cobblestone streets of Eldridge, where she resided in a modest cottage on the outskirts of town. Renowned for her healing touch, Iloan's reputation as a wise woman was as potent as the remedies she concocted, drawing villagers seeking solace for ailments that defied conventional medicine. Yet this very gift cast an ominous shadow over her life, intertwining her fate with the dark underbelly of superstition and fear. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the village square, whispers turned to murmurs, murmurs that painted Iloan as a conduit to the infernal, a weaver of dark spells and a servant of the devil. The very herbs that had brought relief to many were now seen as ingredients for sinister brews, and the flickering flames of her hearth took on the guise of demonic incantations. Before long, Iloan found herself at the heart of a maelstrom, the storm of Eldridge's collective paranoia reaching its crescendo. Accused, convicted, and condemned, she became the embodiment of all their fears, her protests echoing in vain against the rising tide of hysteria. And so it was that a soul rooted in healing found itself consumed by flames, her fate sealed by the very community she had dedicated her life to serving. Today, the remnants of her cottage are nothing more than skeletal beams, a haunting tableau preserved beneath layers of earth and time. Now, in 2023, the unearthing of this forgotten dwelling has unveiled not only the vestiges of a bygone era, but also the chilling tale of a woman whose life was tragically cut short by the flames of fanaticism. The discovery of the toolkit made headlines, but unbeknownst to the masses, church historians moved swiftly, suppressing details and burying references to the artifacts unearthed in Eldridge. They feared the revival of the witch hunt lore that had befallen Iloan, their denials, a thinly veiled attempt to shroud the past in darkness, lest the horrors that unfolded here over a millennium ago find resonance in the modern day. But the news did not go unnoticed. Father Godwin's descendant, a modern-day priest named Father Elias, learned of the find, his soul torn between the unwavering dogma of his faith and the inescapable curiosity ignited by the whispers from the past. Haunted by his family's tragic inheritance, he embarked on a pilgrimage to Eldridge, hoping to uncover the truth. Standing before the excavated hut, now a ghostly frame illuminated by the harsh glare of floodlights, Elias felt the weight of history pressing down on him. The toolkit lay spread on a table nearby, each item an eerie relic in a forgotten altar. His gaze, drawn to the dagger, saw not just a tool, but a phantom flame, a spectre of the very fire that had consumed his ancestor. Meanwhile, Amelia Hart prepared for the inevitable media frenzy, her mind racing to decipher the secrets held within the artifacts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, she found herself face to face with Father Elias, the descendant of her ancestors' accusers. In the ensuing meeting, the rain lashing against the museum window panes mimicked the tempest brewing within Amelia. She spoke with the fervor of a woman possessed, her voice echoing with the pain of centuries of silenced history. Elias listened, his face a stoic mask, his eyes betraying the turmoil within. The tension crackled between them, as palpable as the storm outside. As the night wore on, Elias saw in Amelia a reflection of his own struggle, the torment of seeking truth in a world where faith and reason were at odds. Amelia, in turn, recognized in Elias the burden of his heritage, the spectre of his ancestors' sins looming over him like a shroud. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, signaling the end of their vigil, a profound sense of foreboding settled over them. They realized that their paths had converged, not by chance, but by the invisible threads of destiny. Each carried within them the echoes of the past, and their fates were inextricably linked in ways they could not yet fathom. That night, Elias was plagued by dreams of fire and damnation. The air grew thick with the scent of burning wood, and he found himself running through the labyrinthine streets of Eldridge, pursued by the anguished cries of the damned. When he awoke, the memory of the dream clung to him like a shroud. He visited the site again, drawn back to the spectral cottage like a moth to a flickering flame. As he stood there, the wind seemed to carry Iloan's mournful cries to his ears, her spirit reaching out from the confines of the grave, seeking solace or perhaps retribution. Elias felt the full weight of his ancestors' sins pressing upon him, their guilt seeping into his bones. In the quiet solitude of his room, Elias grappled with the moral dilemma that tore at his soul. Should he heed the desperate pleas of the afflicted, or should he stay true to his religious convictions? The thought of destroying the toolkit, thereby ending the curse that had haunted his family for generations, offered a tempting solution. Yet he hesitated, bound by his faith and the sanctity of life. As the days turned into weeks, Elias became increasingly troubled by his inability to make a decision. He felt the curse deepening, its icy fingers tightening their grip around his heart. Fearful that his inaction was causing more pain to Iloan and his own tormented soul, he decided to visit Amelia once more. He journeyed to the museum where she worked, hoping to find clarity in her scientific perspective. Upon seeing Elias, Amelia's composure faltered, her eyes widening in recognition. Their past encounters, charged with both antagonism and intrigue, hung between them, unspoken yet ever present. Their meeting, however, took a perilous turn when Elias revealed his intention to burn the toolkit. The very suggestion sent a shockwave through Amelia, who vehemently opposed the idea. The potential loss of irreplaceable historical artifacts filled her with dread. Moreover, she saw in Elias's proposal a dangerous echo of the fanaticism that had destroyed Eloana's life all those years ago. With the weight of centuries pressing down on them, Amelia and Elias found themselves locked in a battle of wills, their positions as entrenched as the opposing forces that had shaped Eldridge's fateful past. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the room, the full force of the curse descended upon them. Suddenly, a fire erupted in the lab where the toolkit was kept. Flames roared, licking at the ceiling, and the air filled with the acrid stench of burning wood and ancient magic. Amidst the chaos, accusations flew. Fingers pointed at Elias, his incendiary purpose now a tangible threat. In the ensuing pandemonium, Amelia escaped with her life, but not unscathed. Her face and arms bore the searing marks of the flames, a grim reminder of the cost of this unearthed legacy. The fire left the toolkit in ruins, its secrets reduced to ashes, its story forever incomplete. Amidst the smoldering ruins of the lab, suspicion fell upon Elias, and he fled, becoming a fugitive in his own right, hunted by the relentless grip of guilt and fear. As time went on, Elias's life unraveled, consumed by the shadows of his past. One stormy night, his battered body was discovered, clutching a charred cross in his lifeless grip. The sight of the blackened relic, a symbol of his shattered faith, served as a haunting testament to the tragedy that had befallen him. With Elias gone, the curse seemed to lift, at least momentarily, leaving behind a village on the brink of finding fragile peace. Yet even in the silence that followed, the legacy of Eloan and the haunting echoes of the past refused to be silenced. In the end, the remnants of the toolkit, once so vibrant with life and lore, now lay dormant in a sealed vault beneath the museum, hidden from the prying eyes of the world. As the years rolled on, historians chose to bury the tale of the Eldridge, which rather than risk reawakening the dormant embers of fanaticism. And so the world moved on, unaware of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of its history. On foggy nights, however, when the mist hangs heavy over Eldridge, one can almost hear the rustling of Eloin's spirit. She wanders the village, her footsteps soft and mournful, forever seeking peace and understanding. Her legacy, a somber requiem to the ages, a testament to the perils of unchecked fear and the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity.